WCIA 3 News at 10. Your local election headquarters.
Good evening, I'm Paul Cicchini.
I'm Jessica Coons.
And I'm Jennifer Roscoe. Thank you for joining us. It is Election Night 2020.
It's one of the biggest election nights in recent memory.
And one that's been filled with incredible emotion and passion.
We have team coverage for you tonight. Our reporters are in key locations across central Illinois.
The first race we're looking at tonight is the one for the White House.
This is the big one, of course. Donald Trump running for re-election against challenger Joe Biden. And right now we have 55% of the votes counted. And right now President Trump has a lead, 51% to the former vice president's 48%. This is a tight race here at 10 o'clock tonight. Now we're going to take a look at the electoral votes across the nation. These are the numbers that matter. 270 to win. These are projections from the Associated Press right now, with Biden 118 to the president's 94 electoral votes. Statewide, one of the most heated races we've had for a while, the race for the 13th congressional district that runs Champaign County in the east all the way down to the St. Louis area to the west. Republican Congressman Rodney Davis taking on challenger Betsy Londrigan for the second time. And right now, we've got 66% of Illinois precincts in, and I said that lead was widening at 9. It is getting even larger. Rodney Davis right now trying to win a fifth term with 60% of the vote to the Democrats' 40%. As for the balance of power in the House right now, there are 232 seats for the Democrats, 197 for the GOP. They, of course, trying to add more and gain control of the House tonight. Our Capitol Bureau Chief, Mark Maxwell, is live in Taylorville, and that's where the Rodney Davis camp is. Mark, what is the feeling? We've got 66% of precincts in.
Jennifer, it's still hard to get a read on exactly where this race is going. Of course, the Davis campaign feels comfortable. They'd rather be in a lead, especially this wide of a lead, than in the opposite, the position the Londrigan campaign is in right now. But we are hearing some interesting news from the campaigns right now. They're telling us Champaign County initially planned to count their mail-in ballots, their early votes, first. For some yet unexplained reason, they've planned to shift those to the end and count the in-person ballots first. That could potentially change how the rest of tonight goes. The experts, the campaign prognosticators told us to practice patience. These are the anxious moments where it's difficult for these campaigns to do just that. But we're keeping in close contact with both campaigns. Still no word yet how they project this race to turn out as we all watch these results come in. For now, reporting in Taylorville, Mark Maxwell, WCIA 3, your local election headquarters.
All right, we'll be back with you a little bit later. Mark, thank you.
Every seat in Congress is up for grabs tonight. Among the races we're keeping an eye on is the contest in the 15th congressional district.
That includes portions of Champaign and Ford counties and runs to the southernmost tip of the state. In that race, Republican Mary Miller facing Democrat Erica Weaver. Just over half of precincts reporting in this one, and the Republican Mary Miller has a big lead at this point, 72% of the vote to Weaver's 28%. Moving on to the 16th congressional district, which includes a portion of Iroquois and Ford counties. Republican incumbent Adam Kinzinger taking on Democrat Danny Brzezowski. Just under half of precincts reporting in this one, and the incumbent has the lead with 64% of the vote.
Let's take a look at the 18th congressional district, which includes Sangamon and Menard counties and goes west to the Mississippi. That's where incumbent Republican Darren LaHood and Democrat George Petrilli are battling it out, but not much of a fight here, with nearly three-quarters, a little over three-quarters of precincts reporting, and Darren LaHood cruising to re-election. Let's take a look at the state's race for Senate. It was over very early. The AP called this race for Senator Dick Durbin. The minority whip will return for a fifth term in office. So let's take a look at the big picture coming into tonight. 23 seats were up for grabs that were held by Republicans. A dozen seats were held by the Democrats. Those are obviously in flux. The Republicans have held on to a few, and the Democrats have captured one. Voters in Illinois were asked whether to change the state's income tax. This is a big one.
This would remove the flat income tax and allow the state to tax people with higher incomes at a higher rate and people who make less at a lower rate. Taking a look at how this is going so far, 56% of precincts reporting. So far, the majority voting no, 52%, but it is pretty close there. We'll continue to keep an eye on that.
So what do these results mean for people in Illinois? Joining us here in the studio tonight are two people who know state politics very well, Senators Andy Manar and Chapin Rose. Okay, Senator Manar, you have worked hard to get this thing passed. Right now, the noes are leading.
Yeah, there's still a lot of votes to be counted. The question about the fair tax in the 13th congressional district, we still have a long way to go. We're getting more definition, obviously, as results come in from around the state, but there's still a lot of votes to be counted in races across the board.
And Senator Rose, you're seeing the numbers come in. What areas are you hopeful that this is not going to happen?
Yeah, first of all, I think the fair tax is starting to get to a point where it looks like that's going to be on kind of on target in a small range there.
What do you mean by on target?
Well, I mean, you're over 50% in at this point. You're at that. You're going to see precincts that come in against it. You'll see precincts that come in for it, but it's starting to kind of develop a trend line there. I think the interesting thing about the 13th congressional right now is that you have a huge lead for Congressman Davis, but the Champaign County is completely out. There's just very few precincts in Champaign County at this point for whatever reason. Aaron Ammons' office isn't getting it done this evening. So it's going to be interesting where that goes. The other thing in the presidential election, we talked about this a little bit off air, Philadelphia has suspended counting votes for the night. I said at the beginning of this evening is Pennsylvania is going to be huge one way or the other. And for Philadelphia to suspend counting votes, that to me is a huge problem. And if I was the president, I'd have a team down there immediately figuring out what's going on.
We knew it was going to be a while to figure out that race and other races across the country. All right, we will get back to both of you a little bit later. Thank you.
Back to the numbers now. We are taking a look at the Illinois House of Representatives.
Yeah, let's take a look at the race for the 87th State House District. That features Republican incumbent Representative Tim Butler and Angel Sines from the Green Party. This race not even close. Tim Butler is going to head back to the capital city in the 91st District. That's Republican Mark Luft. He's the mayor of Pekin right now. Obviously, he's looking for higher office in the state. 86% of precincts reporting, and it looks like Mark Luft is also going to be headed to the capital city. Let's move to the 93rd District right now. That's Republican incumbent Noreen Hammond taking on Democrat Scott Stoll. Nearly 70% of precincts reporting, and Noreen Hammond looks to be cruising to re-election.
In the 95th, State Representative Avery Bourne looking to be re-elected, facing Democrat Chase Wilhelm. Almost all the precincts in this one, and Bourne has a big lead with 73% of the vote. To the 96th, incumbent Sue Scheer, the Democrat, taking on Republican Charles McGorry, just over half of precincts in, and Scheer has a bit of a lead right now. We'll keep an eye on that one. In the 100th, Republican incumbent Christopher Davidsmeyer and Democrat Brandon Adams, and Davidsmeyer with a big lead at this point, 74% of the vote.
Let's move to the 102nd District now. Democrat Mitchell Esslinger and incumbent Republican Brad Hallbrook. About 50% of precincts reporting right now, but Brad Hallbrook with a very comfortable lead in that race. Let's move to the 103rd District. Democrat Carol Ammons, Libertarian Brad Bielert. Just 8% of precincts reporting, and part of the reason, or a big part of the reason, is Champaign County, and very few results from Champaign County so far. But Carol Ammons with a comfortable lead so far, but we need a lot of results left in this race. Let's look at the 104th District now. Incumbent Republican Mike Marin, Democrat Cynthia Cunningham, 29% of precincts reporting here. Mike Marin with an advantage thus far. Let's move to the 107th District now.
In that race, Democrat David Seiler is challenging the incumbent Republican Blaine Willauer. Taking a look at the numbers, Blaine Willauer, the incumbent, with a big lead right now, 81% of the vote to Seiler's 19%. Some new faces running for the 109th District on both sides. For the Republicans, Adam Niemerg, and the Democrats, John Spencer. And Niemerg has a big lead over Spencer, 81% of the vote to Spencer's 19%, with just over half of precincts reporting. In the 110th, the incumbent Republican Chris Miller taking on independent Cody Zerwanka, 62% of precincts reporting, and Chris Miller has 74% of the vote.
All right, let's move across the rotunda and take a look at a couple of the races in the state Senate. We'll start in the 52nd State Senate District. That's incumbent Democrat Scott Bennett taking on Alexander Ruggieri. 23% of precincts reporting. Again, we're going to need some results from Champaign County to sort this one out, but Scott Bennett right now with a lead over his Republican challenger. Let's move now to the 55th State Senate District here. This one features State Representative Darren Bailey And with 56% of precincts reporting, this one is actually a rematch here against Cynthia Given. Different race, though. This one in the Senate, they challenged each other in the House race a couple years ago when Darren Bailey came out on top. Looks like he's going to come out on top again tonight.
Okay, we are just getting started. There is so much more on this election night 2020.
That's right. It was a rough few weeks in Champaign County. A lawsuit, issues with mail-in ballots, and early voting.
How the ballot counting is going tonight, of course, plus the latest on county races and referendums on ambulances and recreational marijuana. We'll be right back.
Live from your local news leader, Jennifer Roscoe, Paul Cicchini, Jessica Coons, and Kevin Lighty. This is a special edition of WCIA 3 News at 10, your local election headquarters.
Welcome back to Election Night 2020. The Champaign County Clerk has more than his share of issues going into this election.
That's right. Aaron Ammon's office was sued, had an incorrect zip code on mail-in ballots, and some voters were sent the wrong address for a polling location.
And tonight, results have been slowly coming in. We're still waiting for a lot of them. WCIA 3's Courtney Bunting is live at the Brookins Administrative Center in Urbana. So, Courtney, what is the update there? How is voting going?
Right, Jessica. Well, there's a bit of confusion with how things are right now. We've just been handed a paper actually from someone working with the clerk's office, and it says that 100% of precincts have been counted, but from what you can see for the ballots cast that have been counted, that number is not reflective of what should be 100% precincts. So we're trying to figure out what the discrepancy is. Now, if you were tuning in earlier, we were talking about how there were it was slow getting the results to begin with. There was a bit of backlog that Aaron Ammons mentioned coming from late voters as well as them trying to tabulate a lot of early voters coming in. So he said that was the reasoning behind the backlog. However, he did mention that they were expecting record numbers. He said by 5:30 today already they had reached about 90,000 votes, and he said they expected to be well above 92,000 votes, which is the record currently. So he expected this to be a record-breaking election today. But again, we're still trying to clear up what the confusion is regarding the precincts reporting. Earlier it was 18%, now we're seeing 100, and so we're trying to clear up what the confusion is here tonight. But again, that backlog happening because of the late voters as well as them trying to count those early votes. So we'll keep you updated about what we're able to find out about what the confusion is here for Champaign County. Live in Urbana, Courtney Bunting, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
All right, Courtney, we'll continue to check back in with you. We are going to take a look at some of the races in Champaign County, but before we do that, the Champaign County clerk did tweet just 6 minutes ago that we should refrain from calling races. Early vote and vote by mail have not been uploaded. Early vote will be part of next summary. So we're still going to have numbers coming in, but we are going to take a look at some of the races so far and what they look like. So first, the race for treasurer. That office has been plagued with issues in recent years, including a backlog and delayed payments. Taking a look at the numbers, Ted Meyer and Cassandra Johnson facing off in this one. Again, it says 19% of precincts reporting, still waiting for more votes to be tabulated, but Meyer right now has 63% of the vote. For Champaign County recorder, Mike Ingram facing Mark Sheldon, and Sheldon right now with 66% of the vote. Of course, we will continue to keep an eye on that one.
Hey, you just heard the warning for Champaign County. This race, Circuit Clerk, Democrat Susan McGrath and Republican Katie Blakeman. The incumbent Republican Katie Blakeman has the lead right now. County Coroner Chaundra Bishop, the Democrat, Dwayne Northrup, the incumbent Republican. Northrup with the lead right now. So let's go to Vermilion County, the race for state's attorney there.
Jacqueline Lacey has won another term. This one has been called in Vermilion County. She won with 65% of the vote tonight, beating Sandra Lawless in that race. Now the state's attorney in Coles County, Todd Reardon, and the incumbent Jesse Danley. And Jesse Danley, this one's been called as well, will serve another term as state's attorney there in Coles County.
In Sangamon County, another race for state's attorney. Republican incumbent Dan Wright trying to beat political newcomer Michael Drake, and taking a look at those numbers. Still just about half the votes in, and the Republican ahead in this race, 58% to 42%. In Macon County, State's Attorney Jay Scott is retiring. This is a race between a former Macon County State's Attorney Scott Reeder and former Assistant State's Attorney Tammy Wagner, and a large lead for Reeder right now, 60% of the vote to Wagner's 40%. So how did voting go in Macon County today? A lot of people voting there. WCIA 3's Jennifer Jensen was at a polling place downtown. She has more on what a busy night it's been.
I've stopped at a couple polling places throughout Decatur, and the clerk says in Macon County at each of the polling places there has been a steady flow of voters coming in and out throughout this election day. Macon County surpassed its record for early votes this year, more than 17,000. That's nearly tripled compared to the 2018 primary elections early votes and vote by mail combined. The clerk says so far it is important to mention that there have not been any significant issues with voting today. In Decatur, I'm Jennifer Jensen, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
All right, thank you, Jennifer.
There were several referendums on the ballots across central Illinois. We're going to check in with Champaign County, but you heard the warning. We can't call any races in the county yet. We're waiting on tons of results here. We'll start with the Forest Preserve. It wants voters to approve a tax to increase money there, obviously. Yes or no question. We have no results there. Let's move on to the next one. Champaign County. Should trustees of the Broadlands Longview Fire Protection District be elected rather than appointed? We do have some results here. 50% of the precincts reporting here, and voters so far saying yes.
Moving to Douglas County, a vote on a special tax to allow for the Arcola Fire Department to provide ambulance services in that area. And this one is over, and 79% of people voting yes, they do want that to happen. The Fire Protection District offering ambulance services. Back in Champaign County, people in Tolono voting on an advisory question asking if a recreational marijuana dispensary should be allowed there. Majority of people in Tolono voting no.
All right, enough numbers from us. We're going to give you
Well, hello.
the mic. And you've got good numbers.
Yeah, my numbers are great. We can all get on board with these and vote for this for sure. Today, temperatures, well, this was just a taste of that. We're going to get even warmer in some areas. We're going to talk about that warmth that's coming and let you know if any rain is in the forecast when we come back.
Now, Central Illinois' most accurate forecast with meteorologist Kevin Lighty.
It's election night, so that means I got about a minute 15 seconds here. It's the least amount of time I get. So I'm not going to chat a whole lot about tonight because it's pretty calm out there. Temperatures are in the low and mid 50s. It's nice. It's going to stay nice as we head throughout the rest of the week. Temperatures only getting down to the low and mid 40s by tomorrow morning. But look where we go by tomorrow afternoon. We're back up to 70 in Paxton, 68 Champaign, 68 Monticello. We'll say maybe 72 down in Shelbyville, and also 72 in Marshall. So the only thing is it is going to get windy again. So tomorrow those winds are going to start to crank out of the south, 25 to 30 miles per hour. But that's going to help to keep the temperatures warm. Look at this, 70 on Friday. 71 on Saturday. Look at these 73s on Sunday and Monday, and then the bottom drops out. So we'll skip by that pretty quick, but there's no rain in the forecast. I've got nothing for tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday as we keep things nice and dry. 43 for tonight, mostly clear, fairly mild. Tomorrow, a high of 68 degrees, mostly sunny and warmer. And a look at your 7-day forecast. It is so good that we have the weather as calm as it is, because that is the shortest weather forecast I've ever given. And it's good because it's sunny and nice. So there you go.
Easy.
It's a piece of cake.
You get a little break.
You guys have the hard work. Take that over.
We're going to continue that, Kevin. Thanks. Combined, they've spent more than 25 years at the state capitol.
We'll hear from Senators Andy Menard and Chapin Rose after the break.
The election results continue here on WCIA 3 News, your local election headquarters.
All right, back with our experts on this election, Senators Chapin Rose and Andy Menard. And I have to say, your whole demeanor, Senator Rose, has changed in about the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, things are looking a little bit better. More data is coming in. The lead that Congressman Davis had is pretty large. I mean, obviously Champagne's still out, so you can't call anything, but that's a pretty big lead. So we'll see. I mean, looking around the country, it looks like the president's doing as he did before, but and this is early. It's not going to be decided tonight. We know Philadelphia is going to be out. So about the only thing we agree on is that Kevin Leighty's forecast is awesome. So that's something Republicans and Democrats can cheer for.
We have consensus with those numbers. You said you were going to be watching that 13th district. Okay, we are now at, I think he's at 66% lead right now. Though, of course, we don't have Champaign County numbers. Don't have the students at this point. What are you thinking?
Yeah, a couple of things that are big questions still in my mind. For example, 2 years ago, 1 in 3 votes for Betsy Dirksen Londrigan came from Champaign County in that race. That's a big number for her. So until we get a clear picture of what the returns are like in Champaign County, I don't think that we can draw any conclusions about this race. The other thing is, her big counties are Sangamon, which is her home, McLean County with the ISU campus, and then Madison County. Those look to be trending the same way as 2 years ago. So I think for this race, much like 2 years ago, it comes down to turnout and what the result is in Champaign County.
Okay, all right. And those votes, we know, apparently we're going to be here for a long, long time. Probably thought that, though. All right, thank you, guys.
Those numbers continue to trickle in.
Coming up next, we'll take a look at the top races once again, including that showdown for the 13th Congressional District.
This is WCIA 3 News, your local election headquarters.
Welcome back. We are taking another look at the race for the White House. Joe Biden looking to end Donald Trump's run as president.
Here's a look at the latest numbers we have right now. About 64% of the votes in from the numbers that we're getting, and the president holding about 700,000 vote lead, but still very close. A lot of numbers yet to come in from across the country. Let's check in with one of the other big races in the state that we're focusing on, the 13th Congressional District race. Incumbent Republican Rodney Davis, Betsy Dirksen Londrigan, the Democrat, a rematch from a couple of years ago. But one of the things we've been talking about all night is that we're focused on the numbers from Champaign County that we haven't seen yet. We'll check back in here.
To the U.S. Senate, Dick Durbin is a winner tonight. This ended quickly. He won with 52% of the vote, or some precincts still coming in, but this one has been called rather for Durbin with 52%. As for the vote to remove the flat income tax, this one still coming in. Of course, still waiting on votes from Champaign County in this one and other places as well. But right now, the no votes are leading with 53%.
Of course, it's an historic night across the country.
We'll be right back to wrap it all up.
Have you seen the map where they end up?
The election results continue here on WCIA 3 News, your local election headquarters.
Okay, and that is going to do it for the special edition of the 10 o'clock news.
That's right, but we have so many more local results that we are waiting for, particularly results from Champaign County, and that's going to have a big impact on that 13th congressional district race we are waiting for.
Yeah, still a lot of numbers to come in, not just in Champaign County, but in other areas as well across central Illinois. If you want to check out some of the results we do have so far, you can go to our website, WCIA.com, or you can download the WCIA 3 News app.
So don't go anywhere, because we're not.